All right, thank you. You guys have made it. We have gotten here. We're at that point. There's beer coming up later. So I would like you to take some time now and put your hands together for somebody that I consider in this industry a legend. If you want to learn something about cybersecurity, follow the guy, listen to the guy, approach gently and quietly, and preferably with tea and biscuits. But I bring to you Chris Roberts.
I didn't realize he was going to quote. Where am I going, that way? Yes. All right. I didn't oh, gee.
Watch the beard.
Oh, shit. God help us, I feel like. Am I on? We're on, yeah. I feel like Kevin Bloody Mitnick now with that freaking stage thing. All right. How's everybody doing? Good. All right, let's have some fun. I love that. That was hilarious. Not expected, let's just put it that way. All right, where's the down? There it is. All right, so when I give talks, typically I give a warning. Because, you know, can I have my slides on one of these? I love having two things telling me the time. Oh, you're awesome. Love you. Thank you. All right, here's the reason why. When I was coming in here, I was still building my slides. And then I got here and I listened to a bunch of the conversations and I realized, I'm not going to use these slides. So I just spent 2 hours rebuilding the slide deck. And I have no clue what's coming next, which is kind of fun. I kind of do and I kind of don't. We'll just be nice about it. So I always give a warning. Turn back. This isn't going to be civilized. So quick one, what is the hairy thing? I am the CISO for Boom Supersonic. We are building the next generation of supersonic airlines. It is an interesting and fun little thing to do. I'm also a researcher. I spend a bunch of time taking things to pieces. Now, for those of you that are here later, we have a whole bunch of rugrats and students and everybody else coming in. I'm going to have a conversation about light bulbs. Basically, for the last year and a half, actually probably longer than that because I helped a few other folks on, we've been taking light bulbs to pieces. All of the normal standard ones and the LED ones and all sorts of other fun ones. So we're going to have that conversation. I am a father, mostly these days to four-legged things. I got 3 Great Danes. I really wanted to bring one with me. I'm a geek, I'm a tinkerer, and I'm also a hacker, which is something I'm extremely proud of. I just wish the media would understand the difference between a hacker and a criminal. One of these days, maybe they will. So why the heck are we having a conversation? Why did I change everything? I changed it because I've listened to a bunch of the talks and I'm like, we need to maybe emphasize a few things, maybe need to have a little bit of a reset on a few things, and then we're going to have a conversation about us the humans, us the vendors, us the leadership, and everybody else. First and foremost, somebody's crunchy things. Information security. It obviously evolves, it changes, and it's some stuff like that. We're doing it, as it says, at supersonic speed. For good or for bad, I have to keep an eye on the corporation, the airplane, everything involved, including the human side of things, which basically means, really, supersonic lawn darts, as far as I'm concerned. I have a history in aviation, for any of you that fancy Googling it. I might have had a little bit of fun and games with all sorts of things in the aviation world a few years ago because, unfortunately, people didn't think that we would try to exploit them. 6 months, 8 months into the organization, when you walk in as a CISO, there are some basic, simple questions and conversations you have. As you walk into an organization, the first question anybody should really ask is, hi, what actually am I looking after? What assets do we have? For those of you that are virtual CISOs, typically the first question I used to ask is, how can I kill you? Sounds a little drastic, sometimes it is. But the conversation needs to be that because we need to understand the business. We need to actually understand what the business cares about, not necessarily what we care about, but what does the business care about? What constraints do they have in both the physical world and the digital world? For us, it's both. We need to talk about who inside the organization we can deal with. One of the biggest challenges we have, and we'll address it a little bit later on, is information security has come in for years as the special snowflakes. Well, I'm information security. You have to listen to me. Screw that. Does anybody mind if I effing blind? Does anybody have sensitive ears? Okay. Anybody who still thinks security is a special snowflake is off their fucking rocker. Let's just put it what it is. We have to collaborate. The nicest thing about walking into Boom is I walked in, IT, information security, and software all sit in the same area. Compliance are our friends. We actually work with them, not against them. Simple stuff like this helps make life easier. This has nothing to do with buying the latest shiny thing that's out there. It has everything to do with the human aspect of security. So why do we need to have this conversation again? Here's why. I like having my slides over here, but it confuses me because I walk over there as well. This is simple stuff. It's simple today as it was years ago. Doesn't matter how much training, doesn't matter how much we do. It takes me a minute to get somebody's email if I'm going slowly. Let's face it, we hand them over. How many of you go into the shops, or how many people you go into the shops go, well, I can get a 10% discount, just give me your email. Thank you. One free offer to get your telephone number, etc., etc., etc. Connection with Bluetooth. How many of you got Bluetooth and wireless on at the moment that want to admit to it with the hacker on the stage? Yeah, don't do it. I appreciate everything you've given me with my sniffer that's sitting in the back, but yeah, sorry. Unaccompanied electronics. I'm banned on United, but because I flew up here with Air Canada and I was on business, United has to let me into the lounge. It's like being in the belly of the beast. It's kind of cute. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, play, 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 play. So I get my drink and I do a circuit round. I counted, I think it was just shy of a dozen computers that were sat there unattended, wide ass open, no password, no nothing. Now, aside from sending every single one of them a resignation letter to their CEO saying that they were actually going to go on holiday and raise koalas in somewhere else, how quickly do you think we can deploy software on those machines? 10, 15, 20 seconds? Shit's too easy. Yet, when we talk to our end users, when we have conversations with them, it takes between 7 and 20 times to get through to them, to click responsibly, to think and ask questions before clicking, to trust and validate. So for every single one of you that goes, ha, I am compliant. Once a year, I told my users, don't click shit, don't send shit, or else. You failed. Here's the reason why. And there's a lot of stuff on this, so we'll glance on a couple of them. Let's put this into human terms. We understand the digital stuff, but it doesn't really sink in. So the global average mean time to identify a breach, 197 days. Think about this in human terms. You all have a house. Me, I am a 6'3" hairy hacker. I can wander around your home for 197 days before you know I'm there? Who the hell do you think's peeing in the potted plant, for God's sakes? The cat? Who's eating the food in the cupboard? The mice? 197 days I can crawl. And then when you figured out that it is me, it takes you 70 days to get rid of me. I know you're Canadians, I know you're nice, but for God's sake, somebody needs to take the shotgun out and shoot me. Please, or taser me. That's human terms. Now you turn that into the digital world, that's what we're facing. Yet all of you are sitting there going, well, I've got my endpoints and I've got my IDS, IPS, DLP, God only knows what other acronyms we've been sold. I've got ClownStrike tells me that I'm absolutely 100% protected no matter what, and yet my hairy ass is still able to break in. Something's not right there. So, our industry, we should be heads down, bashing away at the keyboard like nobody's, but we should be working our asses off, which we are. Yet we still do this shit. Really? I had to Google this. I thought this was a parody. A unicorn award. I'm like, no, there's no fucking way on this. No, it's real. You can have a unicorn award. Or, for those of us that are in leadership positions, for the mere price of $3,500 US, you can vote yourself to be CISO of the year. How many of you have got those emails? Yeah, God, I hate them. That is where people need to be shot and tasered. Really? Unicorn award? Bullshit. We award ourselves for the fact we lose 22.5 million records every single day. Every day. Not every week, every month, every damn day. For the 40 minutes or so I'm on stage here, collectively, globally, we will have lost, close on almost another million records. And yet we pat ourselves on the back. We need to maybe change a few things. Because reality, this is about where we're at. Let's be honest. So let's talk about humans. Let's not talk tech, let's talk about humans. This is a kettle. It is for tea. Canada, apparently, is one of the most prolific tea drinking countries, yet you still have coffee up here. When will you get rid of burnt beans and replace it with something civilized? I will insult tea and coffee, but I will not insult hockey. I kind of know my limits. So think about this, okay? That is a kettle, all right? And actually, there are a bunch of students. We were sitting around bullshitting last night, and we didn't use the kettle. I had a thing of salt or something. But think about it this way. We all grew up, we were all kids at one point in time. Our parents or our guardians said, hey, don't touch the kettle. What did we do? Touch the stupid thing. We wanted to see if it was hot. We wanted to figure that one out. We had to experience something. In the physical world, that works. In the digital world, no. Not good to do that. Because as humans, we can evolve. As humans, we have the capacity and the capability to evolve. We're actually not bad at it. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes killing a few more of you off before we actually do evolve. Somebody asked me the other week, they were like, hey, so how do we solve security? And I'm like, kill more people. And they're like, well, that's a horrible thing to say. That's terrible of you. I'm like, when do we change? When it's inconvenient for us to continue the same thing we're doing. That's the only time as humans we change. I'll give you a couple of examples. I currently live in America Land. America Land has all sorts of wondrous things, including some signs like this. When we have to tell people to exit the building before tweeting about the burning building, or don't molest the crocodile, really? This is sitting on a freaking signpost in Florida. Now, it's Florida, I know. It's on a fucking signpost in Florida, for God's sakes. Who the hell gets it into their bright mind to molest a sodding crocodile? Well, hello, darling. You're looking particularly scaly this morning. Do you fancy it? No! It's a freak. But we have to tell people this. So how do we change things? And this is physical. Do not hold the wrong end of the chainsaw. So let's talk about this. Let's try to figure this out differently. By the numbers, currently, give or take a few, 5 and a change billion connected people. Now, we don't like standard bell curves, but unfortunately, standard bell curves tend to work-ish. If we take the standard bell curve, 15% understand. Now, I'm being nice. Let's be honest, we're being generous here that 15% of the population understand or get security. 70%, quite honestly, let's be nice as we can, are a little bit sheeple. They will follow everybody else. This is why we have Fox News and CNN, because, Really? Why do we still call it news? Seriously? 15% think that adding 7, 8, and 9 on the end of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is security. we have a problem there. Now, back in kind of my homeland, I'm going to pick on England because I'm mostly Scottish, and when we tried to actually separate from England, it didn't work properly. And then England decided to get the hell out of the European Union. Bastards. 8.5 million people can actually spell security. Yay, well done. 39 million assume antivirus actually works. Does anybody actually know what the percentage number is for endpoint detection or antivirus? How effective it is? Anybody fancy taking a guess? What percentage? If I attack it 100 times, how often is antivirus and endpoint going to detect me? Anybody want to guess? 50%? No, lower. 15? Lower. 10, 5, thank you. Between 5 and 7% effective. Yet we all stand there going, I have antivirus, I am protected. No. Now, if we extrapolate the numbers out across the population globally, we have about 754 million people that can be outwitted by the talking toaster. Is anybody old enough here to remember Red Dwarf? Yes. We have to put pop culture in here, let's face it, which quite simply means this is about where we're at. Told you. I had to put some slides together for this. It's fun. So let's talk about us. Let's talk about us as CISOs, as leaders, as security people. It might not necessarily be everybody in here, but let's talk about the general mass population of people that take on a security leadership role. I'm going to be nice for a second, because the chances are you've got a security posture. I'm like, I'm in, I have a posture. Actually, the security posture is this. You have integrated your teams. You have actually gotten people to talk to each other. You've digital surveillance, you've passed the audits, you have encryption, you have good security folks, which means you feel good, warm, nice, and fuzzy. Here's the problem. Whenever anybody puts a rabbit up on the screen, you know the bunny's going to get it. This is reality. October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Woo, we passed it. What about the other 11 months? And then we have the audacity. We as this industry go, well, if you follow compliance, you'll be secure. If you put the tick in the box to say, we have all these things, you will be secure. And then we have to go to the entire population of our organization and go, hey, you know we told you you put that tick in the box and you could pass NIST or ISO or... Okay, here's another thing. Why the hell do we have so many compliance regulations? Seriously? Why does everybody believe they have to have their own freaking fiefdom? Hello, I'm SOX, I'm ISO, I'm NIST, I'm FERC, I'm all this shit. Stop it. One simple compliance regulation is needed. Do shit right. Tick. But then when we've basically told everybody that all they have to do is put the tick in the box, we have to freely admit to them that that doesn't equal security. Egg on face, foot in mouth. So we need to change, because the way we're doing it ain't working. We need a different approach, and that starts with everybody in here, every single one of you. Accountability. When the vendor goes, I will protect you, get it in writing. When the supplier says, I am compliant and I have security, get it in writing. When you have people that tell you they can look after you and they will provide for you, get it written down. Not with 64 sub-clauses that exclude everything, including probably a letter from whatever deity you believe, but simplify it. You tell me you can protect me, prove it, and do it. So that when shit goes wrong, because let's face it, it goes wrong, they're walking right next to you, not behind you. Here's the next one. Do I need to say anything else about it? Do I? Probably not. This is probably the worst of our industry. We overpromise and we under-deliver. Do not do business with the vendor that sells this to you. Vote with your checkbooks. This one's the biggie. We need to speak in a different language. When we go and talk to leadership, we have to have conversations about probability. We have to have business conversations. We need to understand enough about them to help us articulate properly. The next time a vendor comes up to you and says, well, I've got an EDR that does EGP with BGP over DDP and EGPX, taser them. And please put it on YouTube and tag me. I want English, or in this country, what do we got? French as well. I want simplified language. Why? Because outside of our community, nobody else understands gibberish. When you talk to people about IP addresses and networks, quit that shit. Talk to them insofar as houses. An IP address is a house. The ports are the windows and doors. The /24 subnet is the street. The /22 is the village. This shit ain't that hard. Turn it into a language that everybody else understands. It might not be comfortable for you, and you might have to do some work, but this is the only way this is going to work. And for crying out loud, we've got to ask more questions. Not just us, but everybody around us, everybody who's coming into this industry. When somebody goes, hi, I've got an artificial intelligence solution built into my model and it will protect you, go, hey, okay, cool, love it. How is the model designed? How often is it trained? What kind of data sets are you using in the model? How often is that model refreshed? I publish top 10 questions for everybody. How do you choose an MSSP? Well, here are 10, 15 questions to ask them. How do you choose an endpoint that actually does what it says on the box? Here's 15 questions to ask them. And if they try to blind you with bullshit and science after tasing them, tell them they need to talk to you in a language that we all understand. Because otherwise this shit happens. My mother got scammed early last year. Thankfully, my mother is sensible enough that most often than not, she calls me and goes, hey, Microsoft called me. And I'm like, oh, did they? Yeah, give me the number. But she went for this art thing. I have some artwork and stuff like that, and she invested in something. Now, I've spent a long time talking with my mum. She kind of knows what I do for a living, not completely, thankfully, but when I end up on the front page of the BBC News, then I get the Christopher conversation. But for the most part, she's pretty sensible. But even my mother got nailed by some of this shit. Now, I might have exacted revenge, and that company will never, ever see the light of day again. But, you know, it is what it is. How many of us have suffered with the Apple gift card scam? Hey, in my case, Blake is my CEO. I get messages, hey, it's Blake. I'm like, okay, I know your number and that ain't it. I'm at a conference, I can't talk now. Can you help me? Every now and again, I'll answer yes, just for shits and giggles, because it's fun. And then it's like, well, you know, I'm at a conference and I've got some people here and I want to say thank you to them. And can you get me some cards? I'm like, absolutely. What do you need? It's like, well, you know, 5 of the 100 gift cards would be perfect. I'm like, absolutely. And then I send them pictures. So how many of you are aware of canary tokens? Yeah, tracking tokens, fucking awesome things. You can payload them into a picture and have some other fun things. So I'll send them back tracking tokens and then I find out where they are. And then I have fun. But in reality, everything has to have a Jar Jar Binks picture, by the way. I actually used this for one of my awareness campaigns at work. This is simple stuff. We don't have to spend a fortune on it. We don't have to do anything crazy to it. We just have to simplify the message and the conversation. How are we doing time-wise? Am I okay? Do I need to shut up soon? I'm good? All right. It is what it is. So what do we do next? How do we deal with this stuff? Let's take some simple, basic steps. First question, how many of you running an organization know where all, oh, look, there's a picture of me. That's a little scary. Hello. How many of you working inside your organization know where all of your assets are? Good. Oh, you do? Challenge accepted. Company of one. Yes. All right, somebody give him money. Let him have more than one people at his company, and then we'll come back and ask the question next year. All right. Oh, good. Oh, shit, 2 minutes. Okay, we'll talk fast. All right. These are simple questions. You don't get to go buy blinky things. You don't get to get past this step until you can understand what physical and what digital assets you have. How the hell can you protect anything else? Really? Simple things. And then we figure out what are they doing, what's their purpose. Now you can get a little bit more technical, because now you can ask the question, so what's on it and do I care? If it gets ransomwared, will I actually miss it or do I have it backed up? It's amazing. 30 years ago, we talked about backup tapes, and guess what? Today, they're even more prevalent than they were before then. Let's talk about what we do with humans. We give them choices. We have conversations with them. We discuss things with them. We don't come down on them like, I got 4 minutes left, or that's 4 minutes I'm going over mine. I'll figure it out. We have to do this together. We have to collaborate on this one. And we have to do things differently. So let's talk about closing. Simple set of conversations, really. We have all come at this from different directions. I don't care if you're a vendor. I don't care if you're starting out in this industry. I don't care if you're a seasoned curmudgeon. We're all in this together. Every single one of us. It behooves every single one of us to work together and to row in the same bloody direction. So when as a vendor you come and approach me, approach with that mentality. And we're going to talk, I think I'm on stage later on this afternoon. I'm on stage later, and we're going to be talking about light bulbs and how to take over Toronto by stealing all the light bulbs. We're going to have some serious fun with this one. But I'm also going to stand on stage later and talk about how to actually approach leadership effectively and efficiently. But for the minute, we're all in this together. It doesn't matter who the heck you are. Irrespective of race, color, creed, religion, orientation, any other bloody thing you want to throw at it, we've all got one job to do and one job only. And that's to protect those around us. Nothing more complicated than that. So, 2 final thoughts. 1, there are people dotted around this conference in a red shirt. Thank them and hug them. Some of them also need jobs. Give them jobs. I spent two hours and something last night kicking back, shooting the shit with a bunch of them. They are freaking intelligent, fucking amazing, and need an opportunity. So if you have space in your organization, give them a job. We don't need this guarded by, well, you need 2 to 3 years of experience. Fuck that, you need a brain that can think. The rest I can teach you. And you need morals and ethics, that's it. So, I'm gonna shut the hell up. I'm gonna let closing ceremony go. The CyberX organization's been freaking amazing. The folks back there, him in front, everybody else around this place. Huge thanks to them, and thank you everybody, and I'll see everybody on stage in a few hours. Love you all, stay safe. Where do I go? That way?